Crime is sexy.
Welcome to this video where we'll be diving into the life of one of the youngest hitmen of the notorious Sinaloa cartel, Raul Meza Torres. His story is one that has captivated many as he rose to notoriety at a very young age, becoming one of the most feared and ruthless members of the cartel. Join us as we uncover the shocking and tragic tale of Raul Meza Torres, the Sinaloa cartel's youngest hitman. Meet Raul Meza Torres, the youngest hitman of the Sinaloa cartel, who knew exactly what he wanted to be long before he turned 15. While other teenagers were dreaming about their future careers, Raul was already living his. It's a disturbing reality that may sound strange to most, but in the violent world of Mexico's cartels, catching them young has been a common practice for decades. Young kids are involved in selling drugs, running around with guns, and killing people. Raul was not the only 15-year-old sicario in Mexico, but he had something that other teenage hitmen didn't have. Unfortunately, children as young as 10 years old have been known to run drug rings in their high schools for twisted older members of known cartels. It's a sickening reality that the world needs to acknowledge and address. In Mexico, children as young as 10 years old are being recruited by cartels to sell drugs, run their rings, and even carry out hit jobs. A children's rights organization, Redim, estimated that by 2019, 30,000 children were already working for the cartels and another 250,000 were at risk of being recruited. Even more alarming, they found that 21,000 children were murdered in Mexico between 2000 and 2019, with many of them playing active roles in the violence that took their lives. But the case of Raul Meza Torres is different. Unlike many other child killers, Raul was not poor, nor did he need protection from rival cartels. So who was Raul Meza Torres, and why is he getting more attention than others? The answer lies in his story as the youngest hitman of the Sinaloa cartel, achieving his dream of becoming a sicario before he even turned 15. However, what makes Raul different is that he possessed a unique quality that sets him apart from other teenage hitmen, a quality that is both intriguing and disturbing. The story of Raul Meza Torres reads like a page out of a crime novel, but unfortunately, it's a true story. Born into a family of Sinaloa cartel members in Culiacan, Sinaloa, Raul's future seemed set in stone from the moment he entered the world on Halloween in 1991. His father, Raul Meza Ontiveros, was a notorious figure in the cartel known as LM6 and had risen to the rank of right-hand man to Javier Torres Felix, LJT, a top drug operator for the cartel's enigmatic leader, Ishmael El Mayo Zambada. Despite his criminal resume, which includes arrests for multiple homicides and assaults against women, Raul's father had a way of slipping through the arms of the law. It was no wonder then that the apple didn't fall far from the tree. But unlike other kids who joined the cartel to escape poverty or violence, Raul's motivations were different. He didn't need protection. If anything, people needed protection from him. When Raul Meza Torres was just 6 years old, his father, Raul Meza Ontiveros, found himself in a sticky situation. He was arrested by the feds and linked to a safe house that held 384 kilograms of Colombian cocaine, along with weapons and several cars customized to distribute it. Raul's father was given a 10-year sentence, but as fate would have it, he was released just after 1 year. To the law, Raul's father was a hardened criminal who had only escaped the consequences of his actions due to corruption within the system. But to 7-year-old Raul, his father was a legend, and his family, they were filled with legends. Raul's mother, Aida Elizabeth Torres Felix, was the sister of LJT, Raul's father's boss, who was a leading drug operator of the notorious narcotics overlord Ishmael El Mayo Zambada. But that wasn't all. LJT also had another equally notorious brother named Manuel Torres Felix, aka LM1, who worked closely with Raul's father. With all these connections to the Sinaloa cartel, it's no surprise that Raul knew from a young age what his future would hold. Raul Meza Torres was born into a family that was practically swimming in the murky waters of the drug trafficking business. His father was a legend in the Sinaloa cartel known as LM6 and had evaded the grasp of the law multiple times. But Raul's family tree didn't stop there. His uncles and cousins were also deeply involved in the family business. As a youngster, Raul's playtime didn't involve toys or games, but rather handling guns that were were bigger than his tiny arms. While his peers were hitting the books, Raul was already learning the ins and outs of the drug trafficking industry. By the time he was 15, he'd already started working as an assassin for the cartel, and his deadly skills earned him the nickname El Mini 6 after his father's alias. But Raul's life wasn't all about crime and bloodshed. He had a girlfriend named Teresa Zambada Nebla, the daughter of El Mayo Zambada, one of the most notorious drug lords in Mexico. Raul was deeply intertwined with the drug world, and it was hard for him to even imagine a life outside of it. Raul had a certain charm that made him stand out in the eyes of his fellow cartel members. The elders saw great potential in him, hailing him as a future influencer within the organization. Meanwhile, the younger members saw him as a role model, drawn to his flashy social media posts that glorified the narcotic lifestyle. Raul had inadvertently become a social media influencer, enticing young Mexican boys to join the cartel, blinding them to the harsh realities of drug trafficking and violence. But despite the danger and moral ambiguities, Raul was living his best life. He was thriving in the world of drugs and money, and his future was bright. Everything was going according to plan until the fateful day in March 2007 when his father was killed in a shootout. The details surrounding his death remain a mystery, and Raul's family refused to cooperate with the police. This tragedy shook Raul's world and forced him to confront the harsh realities of his lifestyle. In the end, no one was held responsible for Raul's father's murder, leaving the young Raul with a heavy heart. At just 15 years old, many would have taken this as a warning and a sign to change their ways, but not Raul. Instead, he doubled down on his delinquent behavior, taking his violent lifestyle to the next level. With his father gone, Raul seemed to be on a mission to fill his shoes and prove himself to the world, but his recklessness did not go unnoticed. The authorities were quick to take notice, and it wasn't long before Raul had his very first run-in with the law. And so began the fall of El Mini 6. On that fateful day in October 2007, Raul Meza Torres and his two companions were cruising around Culiacan's Las Quintas neighborhood in an armored vehicle with no license plates to speak of. It wasn't long before they caught the attention of the police, who began to question them about their vehicle's origins. As it turned out, the car was stolen. Undeterred, Raul boldly claimed the vehicle as his own. However, his story fell apart when he failed to produce any paperwork to support his claim, leading to his swift arrest. Despite being just 15 years old, he was soon released from custody, possibly thanks to his family's connections or the lenient juvenile justice system. While many teenagers might have seen this as a turning point in their lives, a chance to start anew, Raul remained unfazed by the experience. Raul Meza Torres was a master in the art of violence. It was his way of life, his addiction, and he couldn't see any other path for himself. In 2009, he found himself in the same neighborhood where he'd been arrested 2 years prior, Las Quintas. This time, he was drag racing with his buddies when the police arrived and ordered them to stop. Did Raul take heed? Of course not. He chose the easy route and started shooting the police. The officers responded with a hail of bullets, leaving one of their own injured. Raul and his accomplices managed to flee, but they left a car behind at the scene. Following the incident, state authorities launched an investigation and made a stunning discovery. The abandoned vehicle belonged to none other than Raul Meza Torres, son of the infamous drug lord who had passed away just 2 years prior. The discovery of various types of ammunition within the vehicle only added fuel to the fire. Raul Meza Torres had become a marked man, and his reckless reign of terror was about to come to an end. On April the 29th, 2010, just 5 months after his 18th birthday, Raul had a final showdown with the Mexican police officers. It all started when the officers were on patrol in the Los Aguilas neighborhood of Zapopan, Jalisco. They came across a suspicious vehicle and discovered 18-year-old Raul Meza Torres inside, along with his 22-year-old accomplice Fidel Rojas Felix. To make matters worse, Felix was also a member of the Sinaloa cartel and had a spot on the Mexican police's wanted list. As fate would have it, the police had no clue who they'd come across. However, they demanded to search the vehicle Raul and Fidel were in. This left the two men with two options: give up and risk being caught, or fight their way out of the situation. Knowing the consequences of being caught, Raul chose the latter. He was no longer a minor and would face a lengthy jail sentence if caught. Raul and Fidel drew their guns, firing into the air to intimidate police, but the police were unfazed, urging them to surrender peacefully. Raul's desperation peaked as he turned his gun on the police officers and pulled the trigger. A fatal bullet hit one officer while another was left injured. In the end, Raul was also shot before taken into custody. Felix's fleeting attempt to escape on foot was quickly squashed as the tenacious police officers chased him down and apprehended him on a nearby rooftop. It was a fruitless attempt to escape the inevitable fate that awaited him and Raul. In the aftermath of the brutal shootout, Raul and Felix found themselves in hot water. The discovery of handguns and ammunition in their car, coupled with the death of one officer and injury of another, meant they were in for a world of trouble. However, Raul would never face any legal repercussions as he succumbed to his gunshot wounds. Despite being rushed to the hospital, he passed away in the early hours of the morning. But the story doesn't end there. Raul's autopsy raised many red flags that conflicted with the police's version of events. Not only did he suffer from gunshot wounds, but he also sustained multiple head injuries that suggested he'd been struck repeatedly with a blunt object. The police report made no mention of these injuries, leaving many to wonder what really transpired in those final moments of Raul's life. During the court trial, Felix resorted to a desperate move to save himself. He placed the blame on a senior cartel member called Coronel Villarreal, insisting that the weapons found in the car belonged to him. In a shameless move, he also threw his deceased friend Raul under the bus, falsely claiming that Raul was the one responsible for the shootout. He even accused the police of torturing him into false confession. However, his lies were quickly exposed, and the court found him guilty of killing a police officer and attempting to murder another. Consequently, he received a long jail sentence where he will spend a considerable time paying for his crimes. While his story is a tragic one, it serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of getting involved in a life of crime. We hope this video has shed some light on the inner workings of one of the world's most notorious criminal organizations and gives you a glimpse into the dark reality of those who choose to live by the gun. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching.